Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew Fillion and I am 2 weeks out from my next men's physique bodybuilding show. If you're new here, this is a series where I'm going to be documenting all of my prep work for my upcoming bodybuilding show so that people can see it and understand all the behind the scenes that go into competing. So with just 2 weeks left, I've really got to get dialed down to try to burn as much remaining body fat as possible. But before I did that, I wanted to do an experimental carb load so that I could see what my body would look like on stage so that I can kind of gauge where I'm at. So over this past weekend, I did a mini carb load. What that means is that I had a massive amount of carbs while keeping protein and fats to actually a pretty low level. So the reason you do this is because the muscles fill up with glycogen. And glycogen is just sodium, water, and carbohydrates. You want to stay very well hydrated while carb loading, so I've got my salt waters, which you've seen in previous videos. I'm drinking those, and then I'm also going to be eating a lot of dry, easily digestible carbs. Things like French breads, cereals, bagels, things of that nature are very good for a carb load. My personal preference is a French baguette. It's one of my favorite carbs, and because it's so easy to digest, you can have a lot of them, and it's not going to put a lot of strain on the GI tract. So that's what I did for a carb load. Now that the carb load's over, I'm going to be doing a little bit of extra cardio today and tomorrow to try to burn through all of that glycogen, and from here on out, I'm going to be strictly on a ketogenic diet. What that means is that I'm going to be having 0 carbs all the way up until my next carb load, which will be right before my show. So, what would a ketogenic diet look like? Well, for starters, I'm going to be doing 1 meal a day, and this 1 meal is going to be nothing but bacon and eggs. So the reason I'm doing this is so that my body can be fully depleted of any carbohydrates leading into my peak week, which I'll go into that topic in my next video. As for this diet, the main purpose is to try to shed the last remaining bits of body fat. So right now I'm on my last extended fast. It's open-ended. I don't have an end date in mind. I'm just going to fast for as long as I can. Once I'm ready to break this fast, I'll switch into keto. But from here on out, I'm keeping the calories as low as I can to try to burn off that extra 3 or 4 pounds of fat that could really get me nice and shredded on stage. So, what I'm going to do from here, I'll take you guys inside, we'll do my weigh-in. It's going to be a little heavier than normal because of my carb load. Then I'll show you guys my physique update, and I'll take you in the office to go over the macros. That's where I'm really going to break down the carb load in better detail. So with that guys, come inside and join me, and we'll go through some updates. So I just weighed in at 178.4. All things considered, that's not bad, especially because I was thinking it'd be much higher. But I am already 36 hours into my next fast, so I ended up kicking more water than I thought, but hey, that's a good thing. The goal from here is I would really like to crack into the 160s. Even if it's just 169, that would put me at the leanest that I had ever been. So that's the goal this week. Open-ended fast, there's no end date in mind. If I can make it a full 7 days, that would be great. But I'm not going to force myself if I can't. If I need to bail out, I will. But we're just going to ride that out and do keto from here on out. So from here, I'm going to show you guys my physique, and we'll see how I'm doing. So I'm gonna go over my steps, weight, and macros. It's gonna cover a lot of the details about my fasting. Jumping right into it, we got our steps. I was walking 10 miles a day previously, but I've actually dialed that back a little bit so that I can spend that time actually doing the elliptical. So the thing is, I've got to lose a little bit more weight. I'm a little bit more behind than I'd like to be. It's the unfortunate reality. Walking is great for fat burning, but I've only got 2 weeks left and I need to lose a lot of fat and I need to lose it fast. So I'm going to be replacing some of those walking calories with elliptical calories. I might go as much as 2 hours a day for this entire week if that's what it takes to try to get back down to around the 169 range. That's my goal. I've never gotten to it before, but this is the year I think if I can make the push, I'll come in looking the best that I'd ever looked on stage. So really gonna kind of trim things down, maybe do 5 miles a day. I might even go less. If I really have to, I'd rather be doing elliptical than walking at this point. But I'm gonna do as much elliptical as I can. Moving into the weight. So I did rolling 48s last week, and you can see by Wednesday I got down to 174, which is actually already leaner than I was when I competed last November. So on that note, that's really awesome. So I'm at least at where I was last year, but I still want to be better. So if I can break down to the 169 range, it's really what we're shooting for. I did try a mock peak week this weekend. So you're gonna see my weight did go up, and I'll show you guys the calories. I think I may have overdone it a little bit, so I'm a little disappointed that I didn't have as much self-control as I should have. But the good news is I did get to see what my physique looks like when it's full. When I do my peak week video, I'm going to explain what all of that stuff means. But for now, we're just kind of sticking with the weigh-ins here. Going into my macros. So you can see I started out the week doing rolling 48s, made it all the way through Sunday. That was good. On Monday, I had a very low calorie refeed, which was awesome. That's what I like to see. Very high in protein, very high in fat. Went back into my next rolling 48, so that was awesome. Now Wednesday, unfortunately, I went a little too hard on the carbs. I got all the way up to 500 grams of carbs on Wednesday, which is completely overkill. I didn't need to do that, but it kind of got away from me. And that can kind of happen when you're this deep into a cut. A little bit of food gets in your system and you kind of go haywire. Thursday, I wanted to do another 48, but unfortunately, late at night, I did end up having some snacks. You can actually see that I was fasting the whole day because protein and fats are like completely bare minimum. So, hold on, what am I doing there? So 15 grams of fat, 10 grams of protein. This Thursday carb binge, this was literally just carbs. So then I kind of led right into a mini carb load. So Friday and Saturday, I did want to do a full carb load. I wanted to see what a real muscle fullness would look like. So calories were high. Fats and proteins were definitely way higher than they needed to be. I'm going to have to make sure when I do my real peak week to really be strict while carb loading, not to have all this extra food. And you can see on Saturday, I got all the way up to 430 grams of protein, which is like kind of insanity, right? Not entirely happy with myself about that. So this week is definitely going to be corrective action. I'm doing an open-ended fast, so I've got my electrolytes. I've already pre-made all of them. They're in the refrigerator. I can have them all week. I'm doing this open-ended fast. We're gonna try and get as much body fat cut off as possible. That includes a lot of cardio. This is not gonna be an easy week, but it's going to be a necessary week. And we're gonna try as hard as we can to stick to it. So with that, I'll have my peak week video for you guys next week, and that'll go over what the whole strategy is. And I look forward to that. So if I still got you guys, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave me a comment below if you guys have questions. You know, I'm definitely here to help. So with that, I will see you guys next week for peak week. All right, peace.